Chapter 16. Welcoming the Serpent. The morning started with a restless pit in my stomach. I woke up before my alarm, the gray light of dawn filtering through the blinds in our rented house in Malibu Canyon. As much as I tried to shake it off, the weight of the blackmail loomed over me like a storm cloud. I grabbed the remote and turned on the news, scanning for anything that could hint at the blackmailer's next move. Before I could get too far, my dad stepped in, his presence as steady as a rock. Without a word, he took the remote from my hand and turned the TV off. "Kaito," he said, his voice firm but calm, "don't let them get in your head. That's exactly what they want. You're the master of your mind, not them." I sighed, rubbing the back of my neck. "Easier said than done, Dad. They burned down my house. What's next?" He placed a reassuring hand on my shoulder. "Whatever it is, you'll face it. You've got the strength, and you've got us." Mark came by, already dressed in workout gear. "Your dad's right, Kaito. Why don't we hit a workout? Burn off some of that anxiety." It wasn't a bad idea. Exercise had always been my go-to for clearing my head. I nodded, grabbed my sneakers, and we headed to the small gym in the basement. Mark was relentless, as usual, pushing the pace. We were halfway through a set of squats when he spoke up. "Look, Kaito, you've already taken the necessary steps. We're here in a secure, hidden place. The office has been moved to a new location. You've got the funds ready as a last resort. You're covered, man. Stop worrying too much. We've got your back." I exhaled sharply as I racked the barbell. "It's not just about being prepared, Mark. It's the not knowing that gets to me. What's their next move? How big are they? How far will they go?" Mark patted my shoulder. "Then don't play their game. Stay ahead of them. Keep control." By the time we finished, I felt a little lighter, but the weight of the situation still lingered. We had breakfast as a family, a quiet but warm affair. It was almost 10 a.m., and still no sign of the blackmailer's next attack. I decided it was time to check on the staff at the new office in Glendale. But just as we were about to leave the house, Jenna's phone rang. She answered, her face growing pale as she listened. "Slow down," she said, trying to calm whoever was on the other end. "What happened?" I watched her carefully, dread knotting my stomach. When she hung up, she turned to me, her expression a mix of shock and disbelief. "The new office," she said, her voice trembling. "It's been burned down." My heart stopped. It felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. "What?" was all I could manage. "One of the staff called," Jenna said. "They were crying. The place is gone, Kaito. It's gone." The enormity of it hit me like a freight train. "How the hell did that devil even know about the new location?" I asked, pacing the room. "Could it have been one of the employees?" Jenna grabbed my hand, trying to steady me. "Let's not jump to conclusions. We need to figure this out." As if on cue, my phone buzzed with a notification. The sound made everyone freeze. I picked it up, already knowing what it was before I read the message. "You failed to pay, Kaito Arashi. Now the price is raised to 100 million. You have 24 hours to comply, or something much worse is going to happen. Don't fuck it up, or I will make sure you won't rise again, Kaito Arashi." I read the message aloud, my voice flat, but inside I was a storm of emotions. My mom started crying, and my dad immediately wrapped an arm around her, whispering words of comfort. Jenna and Mark stood frozen, their faces pale with fear. "They're escalating," Jenna said finally. "They're trying to break you." Mark slammed his fist against the counter. "Well, screw them. We're not gonna sit here and take it." We shifted into action. Jenna decided to review the security footage from the old Arashi insurance office, hoping for some kind of lead. As she scanned through the recordings, I stood behind her, my hands gripping the back of her chair. "There," she said, pausing the footage. Her voice was sharp, almost triumphant, but tinged with dread. On the screen, we saw Diane. She was outside the old office early that morning, watching as the staff loaded their belongings into vehicles for the move. Jenna fast-forwarded, and sure enough, Diane followed one of the cars in her own vehicle. "She bailed herself out?" Jenna said, her tone laced with anger. "She must have used the money she got from the investors." I clenched my fists. "So she found out about the new office and tipped off the blackmailer. It's her. She's connected to this." Jenna called one of the staff members who had been part of the move. Did you notice anyone following you this morning? She asked. Yes, the staff replied, her voice shaky. It looked like Diane's car. That was it. We had our link. We huddled in the living room, the weight of the situation pressing down on all of us. My dad broke the silence. We need to call in help. Legal authorities, private security, whatever it takes. You can't fight this alone, Kaito. He was right. It was time to bring in reinforcements. We couldn't afford to take any more chances. I nodded, my resolve hardening. Let's do it. As the family rallied together, I stared at the blackmail message on my phone one more time. I will make sure you won't rise again, Kaito Arashi. It wasn't just a threat, it was a declaration of revenge. The day was unraveling faster than I could keep up, yet I refused to let panic take hold. The blackmailer's latest message still echoed in my mind, a venomous threat designed to sink its claws deep. I knew I couldn't falter. My family and my company's survival depended on it. I knew this could not stay silent forever. If we wanted to make it out, then we needed to reach out to legal authorities. But responding to this threat required careful, calculated moves. As much as I wanted to take control, my high-profile status made it impossible to act without drawing attention. The blackmailers seemed to know my every move, and I couldn't risk tipping them off to any plans. Jenna and Mark stepped up when I explained the situation. You can't make the call to the police yourself, Jenna said. If they have ears everywhere, this could backfire. Mark and I will handle it. We'll go off the grid, make the call in person. That way, it won't trace back to you. I nodded. Make sure whoever you reach out to is airtight. This has to stay quiet. Mark clapped a reassuring hand on my shoulder. We'll find someone who can help without drawing attention. You just hold down the fort here. As they left the house to find legal support, a wave of determination surged through me. The enemy was trying to break me, to get into my head, but they didn't understand who they were dealing with. I'd been pushed around before, humiliated, beaten down, forced to prove my worth. But I'd risen every time. This was no different. My family, my legacy, and my company were on the line, and I'd fight tooth and nail to protect them. By midday, the media had latched onto the chaos surrounding me. Every major outlet was broadcasting stories about the fires. Arashi Insurance had become the centerpiece of a media frenzy. What is going on with Kaito Arashi and Arashi Insurance? One anchor questioned. 2 fires in a matter of days. First his home, now his company's office. Investors are fleeing, and rumors of fraud are surfacing. Is this the end for one of California's most prominent insurance firm? The relentless coverage was like a hammer to my chest. It wasn't just the threat of the blackmailer anymore. It was the public perception that my empire was crumbling. Calls and messages flooded into the company's customer service lines, with clients and investors demanding answers. Jenna, who was managing the incoming chaos remotely, was exhausted as she juggled panicked calls. We're close to the edge, she said, shaking her head. If this keeps up, we might lose everything before the blackmailer even gets another chance to act. I clenched my fists. I couldn't let that happen. My father, Hiroshi, stepped into the study where I was pacing, his calm demeanor a stark contrast to the storm inside me. Kaito, he said, his voice steady, that's exactly their weapon. They want you scared, reactive. But you've always been stronger than that. I nodded, taking a deep breath. You're right, Dad. I won't let them win. With his words in mind, I started thinking ahead, preparing for every scenario. The first step was securing our financial stability. I decided to withdraw a significant amount of money from the bank before the blackmailer could escalate things further. If they had connections, they might try to freeze my accounts. I couldn't take that risk. I wasn't planning to hand anything over, at least not yet. But if all else came to it, I needed that leverage. At the same time, I worked to anticipate their next move. My mind raced with possibilities, how they could strike again, where they might be watching from, and how to counter every angle. To stay ahead, I made the call to bring in private security, a team known for their elite precision and discretion. It wasn't a decision I took lightly. I went through their profile and made sure they were a reputable team, a team driven by justice, a team I can truly trust. Our Malibu Canyon rental was supposed to be a hidden refuge, but after everything, I wasn't taking chances. By early afternoon, the private security I called arrived. The convoy of black SUVs pulled into the driveway. 5 men stepped out, each of them exuding confidence and authority. Their leader introduced himself as Garrett Stone, a tall, broad-shouldered man with sharp blue eyes that seemed to take in every detail at once. "This is my team," Garrett said, gesturing to the others. "That's Marcus, our surveillance expert. He'll set up cameras and monitoring equipment to secure the perimeter." Marcus, a wiry man with a calculating gaze, nodded curtly. "Then we've got Dante," Garrett continued, pointing to a towering figure with an intense demeanor. "He's ex-military, specializes in close-quarters protection." The other 2, Elliot and Reese, were equally skilled. Elliot was the tech wizard, responsible for jamming unauthorized signals or intercepting communications, while Reese handled logistics and rapid response planning. Garrett's voice was calm but firm as he addressed my family in the living room. "Mr. Arashi, I understand you're under extreme pressure. We're here to ensure nothing gets through to you or your family. Every angle will be covered, every possibility anticipated. You can rest easy tonight." My mother, however, wasn't convinced. Seeing these towering figures armed with expertise and equipment only heightened her anxiety. "Is this really necessary, Kaito?" she whispered, tears pooling in her eyes. "All this, the guards, the threats, it's too much." I reached out to hold her hand. "Mom, I know it's overwhelming, but I can't take any risks. They've already hurt us, and I won't let them get closer." Garrett stepped in, his tone softening. "Ma'am, I assure you, we've handled cases far worse than this. My men are trained for every scenario. You have nothing to worry about." His words eased her crying, though I could tell she wasn't fully convinced. As the hours dragged on, I waited anxiously for Jenna and Mark to return with news of their search for legal support. The stress was palpable, weighing on all of us. My mother stayed close to my father, her worry written all over her face. When Mark and Jenna finally returned, they brought some relief. "We found someone," Jenna said, a faint smile breaking through her exhaustion. "A private legal team, completely discreet and off the radar. They've handled sensitive cases like this before." Mark added, "They're already working on tracing the blackmailer's digital footprint. They're good, Kaito. If anyone can help us without drawing attention, it's them." I let out a breath I didn't realize I was holding. It wasn't a solution yet, but it was a step in the right direction. As night fell, the weight of the day pressed down harder. The news continued to swirl with speculation, clients and investors remained in a panic, and the blackmailer's threat loomed over us like a storm cloud. But in the midst of it all, I felt a quiet determination growing. This enemy thought they could break me, but they didn't know who they were up against. I would outthink them, outmaneuver them, and make them regret ever coming after my family. After the initial setup, we gathered in the study. Garrett and his team presented their plan, a detailed strategy that showcased their expertise. "Here's the perimeter map," Marcus began, pointing to a digital blueprint of the property. "Cameras are placed here, here, and here. Infrared and motion sensors cover the blind spots. We'll have eyes on every inch," Garrett added. "If anyone tries to approach undetected, we'll intercept them before they can get close." Dante leaned forward. "We also recommend reinforcing your family's vehicles and avoiding any predictable travel routes. Keep movement minimal until we neutralize the threat." Their precision was reassuring, but there was something else, something about Garrett's lingering gaze when he said, "neutralize." It felt like he was testing me, gauging whether I'd consider the simplest route, paying up. "What about the blackmailer?" Jenna asked. "Do you think they're bluffing?" Elliot chimed in, his voice steady. "In cases like these, they're usually after one thing: control. The money's secondary. They want you scared, vulnerable. That's their real power." Reese nodded. "If you give in, they won't stop. But if we play this right, we can turn the tables." It was sound advice, but it also felt like they were nudging me toward the very thing I didn't want to do: consider paying as a contingency. The rest of the evening passed in tense silence. The security team patrolled tirelessly, their voices crackling over radios. "East clear. North clear. All secure." At dinner, Garrett spoke again. "We're covering every angle." "Rest easy, Mr. Arashi." I nodded, but sleep was the furthest thing from my mind. After everyone turned in, I stayed up, staring at the blackmailer's message, their venomous words looping in my thoughts. "I will make sure you won't rise again, Kaito Arashi." I wouldn't let them win. Not this time. Not ever.